Hello and welcome to Kiki's Chat Show. Today is Wednesday, the 30th of April, and today is actually a day where if you lit a candle and made a wish, it will happen. I promise you. Make one wish. If you're a woman, light a candle, pray over it, and make a wish. It will happen. I promise you that. If it doesn't, let me know. Today, I have the absolute pleasure of speaking to a truly inspiring woman, Esther. Her name is Esther J. Agyeman, a trained geomatic engineer who bravely swapped her hard hat for a chef's hat to follow her passion for food, nutrition, and longevity. Through her work, she's helping families, communities, and workplaces discover the joy of healthy living. Welcome to my show, Esther. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Esther, there's so much that I mean, if my parents put me through education to be a geomatic engineer, I'm going to have problems at home changing from that to cooking.
Mm.
Did you have those problems?
I honestly not from home, but from outside forces. But my dad died when I was really young. So when I made the change, my dad wasn't around. So I don't know whether if he was to be around, that would have been difficult. But my mom is one of the most easiest person. She's honestly, I look at my siblings. There's 9 of us, and each of everyone is almost all of us are entrepreneurs, and this is because of how easy she made life seem and how she didn't force us to do stuff. She let us like carve your path while she's mentoring you, if I should put it that way. So when I decided to quit my job and go into full-time catering, she didn't discourage me. She
It didn't stop
supported
you.
me.
Yeah.
Didn't
Yeah.
stop me. She
So,
didn't.
can you tell us exactly how you did it though? Is it that you were working somewhere and then you suddenly changed your mind, and how did you
Yes.
do that?
So I was working with one of the geomatic companies in Ghana, surveying companies, one of the best actually. And um, I've always loved cooking. I've always loved cooking. So I will cook to work and my lunch. I take time when I'm cooking. I'm someone who I wake up and recipes come to me, so you can imagine. So I'll cook to work, and colleagues will ask for some. So I started cooking to work. Then with time people started ordering, so I'll be catering over the weekend. Then it started growing. So I quit after 2 years of working as a geomatic engineer. I quit, which I was doing very well, honestly. Within my first year, I was promoted. Um, I quit to follow my passion, and I haven't looked back. So when I quit to follow my passion, um, at that time, I remember my mom had traveled to the UK. So when we are on holiday, she would travel, come and hustle for us. And so she had traveled, and I started running the bakery. So my mom had a bakery. My grandma was a baker. And when my dad died, my mom started the bakery. So I started that. And I created over 10 varieties of bread. So now when you go to Ghana, you see mixed fruit bread, you see coconut bread. I started that in Ghana. I can hit my chest high and say I started that. And all these at that time, internet wasn't that great in Ghana. This was in 2007, 2008. I just created the recipes and it was banging. People loved it and started selling. So I started catering for corporate Ghana. I'll do food van. I started food van in Ghana and catered for breakfast. So sandwiches, pies, or a whole lot, all the breakfast stuff. I added nuts. So I will research and add stuff to it. And by the time my mom came, the bakery was full fledged working. It was amazing. I sit back now and like preparing for the interview, I was going over the things I've done and I'm amazed at myself. So that's how I started. Then in 2010, unfortunately in 2008, so I got married in 2006. 2008 January, my husband died in a car accident. He died instantly. Um, yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry.
Okay. Um,
This
no,
is in Ghana, by the way. You're
yeah,
telling us this in Ghana.
this is
Yeah.
in Ghana.
So you hadn't come here yet.
No.
No.
Um, and I gave up on life when he died because he was till date I haven't found anyone like him. So I gave up. Then so I would sleep, wake up, and all that wasn't suicidal. I when I wake up, I'm sad I've woken up. I just wanted to. I gave up literally. I wasn't doing anything. I'll give my money and stuff away. But came July, when I realized I wasn't going anywhere, I made a pact with myself that I was going to live and live my best life. So I took the catering course. I enrolled in catering. When I started the business, I had not taken the catering course. These were recipes I had developed. But because the business was growing, I decided that I'll go to catering school. So I enrolled in a catering school. I did all the courses they offer. So they did sugar craft, I did that. They did decor, I did that. And to do all the courses, it had to be 2 years. I crammed it all into 6 months and came out as
Wow.
the best student,
Wow.
overall best student. I remember when I started the school, I asked, so if I should, what are the incentives they give? And they said they give award to the overall best student. I remember I wrote on my vision board, thank you, God, for making me the overall best student. And oh gosh,
This is before you actually became the best student.
yes, this was before.
Wow.
So as soon as I enrolled, I asked about all the things I needed to do, and I asked that is there any incentives to students, and they said overall best students get an award. And I remember I just went home, wrote on my vision board. At that time, I just became very intentional and very, because I realized that look, no one, we don't know when we will go, because my husband at that time, he never got sick. He was the most happiest person you ever meet, healthy, doesn't even get headaches, hardly. Then one day he was just gone on the motorway accident, just like that, died on the spot with his cousin. So it made me leave after I decided that, after I realized, not that I decided, I realized I wasn't dying. Um, this was after 6 months he died. And that's when I took the course. So when I went to the school and they told me, everything, I made a plan and I hit all my goals. Like looking back now, 2008 is my worst year, but the year I've achieved the most, even up to date. I hit every goal I wrote. I hit it. So I was the best student. I wrote on my vision board, and Came December, I was the best student. I got that award. I was given a food processor. It could do a whole lot of things. Um, then that was in December 2008. Then 2010, Joy FM, one of the major radio stations in Ghana, did entrepreneurship mentorship course for under 30s. And
Mhm.
I took part. I remember that morning I was exercising and my big brother was around. Um, and I said, I'll do this. And he said, go for it. I just stopped exercising, did the application. I remember at that time there was a lady called Iradra or Irabna, one of them. I think Irabna. Um, so when I made through the shortlist, they shortlisted over 1,000 people. They called me. I was just screaming, and so they shortlisted over 1,000 people, and we had to go and do a presentation. So I remember going for the presentation. I've always known that I'm good at what I do, like when it comes to cooking. It's I know it's a gift because I will sleep and wake up and I have recipes. So
Switch off your
I
phone.
yes, I've done that. Sorry about that.
No, no, no
Um,
problem.
so I where was I? Where was I?
You recipes.
So the presentation, I went with
Yeah.
my samples. And I remember one of the panel judges was Kisley Hayford, and after I made it to the final 10, he said, girl, how you brought your recipes in, the confidence with which you brought it in, and we tasted it and we're like, wow, there's nothing like this. That's what made you win. So remember to always stick with that. You have a gift and stick with that. And that has stayed with me, and it's been my ammo till date. So that's the long and short of how I quit my job to follow my passion. And with the naturopathy, I started naturopathy when I moved here into the UK.
Hmm.
I was working as a chef with Waitrose. They have a restaurant in Canary Wharf,
Okay.
and even how I got into Waitrose is like a miracle. I went for the test. I did a test at Milton Keynes. I didn't get through. Then I saw another vacancy in Canary Wharf. I went for it, and they have a 6 step. Is this 6 or 4 step interview process? I went through the first one. Friday, Monday, I was offered a job.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You have a lucky star on top of your head. That's what they say
Despite
in
all the
Ghana.
things I've been through,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The things you
So,
went through may have been learning curves for
yeah,
you, for your star to shine.
amen.
Wow.
So when I was working with waitress as a chef, people will come to me saying maybe they have diabetes or they have high blood pressure. They have some form of illness and they will ask, what should I eat? I didn't know. So that made me start looking into nutrition. And
Mhm.
although I look into it, I didn't really pursue it. Then during the lockdown, when I was furloughed, I opted to be furloughed. I took the naturopathy course, and that's how come I found myself doing what I do now, and I'm loving it.
Okay, so when you sent me your bio, you said you focus on blue zooming homes and
Blue
lifestyle.
zoning.
We use blue zoning. What is blue zoning?
So blue zones are 5 countries in the world where it's been researched. I know if they go to Africa, they will realize we are part of it. But these are 5 places in the world where the few people live the longest, the happiest lives. And due to the way they live, that's enabled them take control of their health and well-being, and it makes them happy and they live longer and healthier lifestyles. So what I do with my clients is I help them blue zone their home, and what this means is I help them make the healthier choice and easier choice. So example, when I blue zone a client's home, we'll put fruits and nuts on the dining table instead of the normal crisps or chocolates, so that when you need to snack or you want to snack, you snack on healthy stuff. In the kitchen, you will have your herbs and natural spices, so that when you're cooking, you cook with the herbs and natural spices. Put a skill in the bathroom. You have bean bags, so you sit on the floor, because it's been researched that when you sit on the floor and get up and stuff like that, it all strengthens our muscles. So it's doing these little things to help take control of your health and well-being that I help clients to do.
Wow. You know, what are the most common misconceptions you encounter when it comes to using food as medicine?
The first one that is always funny is people have the conception that nutritious meals are bland and boring, but they are not. With antibiotics, they are not. I make salad and people come and say, "What did you put in the salad? The salad is yummy." Um, Another misconception is people ask me, "So are you doing this because you don't want to die?" That's not my aim. My aim is, I don't know how long I've been given on this earth, but however long I've been given, I want to live the most healthiest, vibrant life so I can live my best life. So that's my aim. Whenever I talk, people are like, "Do you even have fun?" Yeah, I do. I do have fun. Um, but having fun doesn't mean you should put your health on the back bench, because most of the time what we do is we put our health on the back bench and seek for fame, money, success, etc. Then till we lose our health, then now all we seek is our health. So mine is, why not get health so that the world truly becomes your oyster?
So you don't need donut.
You don't need.
Donut. You do not eat you. You don't need donuts.
I do once in a while, but it's not something I eat often. Once in a
Okay,
while, if
so
I go out.
you know, for example, when we talk about food and the dullness of healthy food, and you're saying that you make beautiful salads and you make nice food and all of that, but donut is something that when you bite into, if you are a donut lover, when you bite into a donut, especially when you're having a bad day, or the feeling of, I can't describe to you that feeling.
I can tell
Now,
you a donut lover.
I am. It is one of, everyone knows about me and donuts. So if for health, I have to cut down on donut. It's such a difficult and painful journey to go. I could eat your salads and all of this, but to let go of
Mm.
my weekly donut.
So what I do, this is where nutrition and naturopathy comes in. So donuts, the typical donut will be the normal white flour. You can use spelt flour to make your donuts. Then it becomes healthier, in quotes, because it's still donuts and you add your sugar. So instead of the white custard sugar, you can use something like honey or um, coconut sugar. So you replace all this with the natural stuff that have not been over processed or bleached. And when once you do that, then you don't get the impact. So donut is mainly sugar, is carbohydrates, and with carbohydrates, so when we eat, let me explain this a bit. When we eat carbohydrates, what happens is that all carbohydrates and sugars, which donuts falls into that category, is broken down into glucose, Glucose gives our body energy. And when it's broken down into glucose, the body will take the glucose it needs for energy. Any excess, it will push into storage as fat. So, insulin, once you eat the donut and the glucose is produced, the pancreas will shoot a corresponding amount of insulin. So if the glucose is high, a high amount of insulin will be shot, and it will push a lot of the glucose into storage as fat. Then, so once you eat it, because you get the spikes, when you eat it, you get a boost of energy. You feel happy. After a short while, you see that you feel a bit down. It's because insulin has pushed so much into storage that now you get the slump. Does that make sense?
Some parts of our body can be described as oversabi. Just let me eat my donuts and let it pass. But no, glucose and all, but no. I remember the first time I actually listened to you speaking. You you said something. I even told you about it the next time we spoke, that I learned the first thing I learned from you was when you eat food, or whilst you are eating food, don't drink water.
Yes.
But every time, from since we were kids in Africa, everywhere, every time you are given a plate of food or you have a plate of food,
They give you
you put
water.
water beside it. And so
Yes.
you eat a little, you drink. In fact, I know a man who nearly divorced his wife because he said she didn't, she's very slow in providing the water with his food.
He couldn't go for his water.
No, this is her job. She provides the plate of food and she puts a glass of water or a bottle of water beside him. And it was a big thing. It was discussed in the village square.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Interesting.
So
Yes.
now share it with the world or anyone who's watching, your view on water and fluid and food.
So why we advise that we don't mix our fluids with our food is that we have hydrochloric acid in our stomach,
Mhm.
which breaks down the food when we eat, it digests it. When we mix our food fluids with our food, the fluid will dilute the hydrochloric acid in our stomach. So it wouldn't be as effective as it should be if it's not diluted. Because if it's not diluted, then the food, once you eat, the food will go into your stomach, hydrochloric acid will act on it and break it down. But once you mix the food with the water, then complete digestion doesn't take place. And most of the time, people will finish eating, they feel bloated, they feel lethargic after a short while. I know if this has been a practice, which is for most people where they are eating and they have water, Rome was not built in a day. I learned it too when I took the naturopathic course. That's when I learned this. And it's a gradual process. So let's say, and currently, if you do drink, let's say, 250 ml with your food, I'm giving an example. You cut it down to 200. The recommended is if you have to, by all means, drink water. Because sometimes you eat and it's a bit dry or it
Mhm.
chokes you a bit and you have a cough. You sip, you just take a sip. It's okay. It's when you drink too much that it dilutes our hydrochloric acid. And also, digestion begins in our mouth. The saliva in our mouth acts on the food and digestion starts. So the recommendation is, when you, let's say when you go to a restaurant and they
Mhm.
bring the food and when with a group of people and maybe you're waiting for someone's food, you start salivating. Even at home, when food is ready and it's brought before you and you don't eat right away, you start salivating. That is the first stage of digestion. So the advice is, once you get your food, you wait, savor in the flavor, savor in, and let the digestive juices get kick started. And when you are eating, you take your time to chew the food well, because remember, digestion begins in the mouth. The chewing process is part of the digestion process. And as you chew the food, if you are mixing it with water, one, the saliva is diluted. Two, your hydrochloric acid is diluted, and you are not getting complete digestion. It is said that we are what we eat, but truly we are what we absorb. Because if you are eating it and you are not absorbing the right nutrients, then it's of no good to you. So that's why we shouldn't mix our fluids with our food. So you have fluids away from the food 30 minutes to an hour before or after eating. But if you must, then 200 ml of water. Water only. No red wine, no alcohol, no juices, water.
Well, I mean, truthfully, as we're growing older, we are acquiring all sorts of things, knee hurts, this hurt, that, arthritis, the lot. So I think for some of us, it's very important that we start to change our lifestyles and start to learn new things, which would help us to live longer and
Exactly.
see our grandchildren
Yes.
who haven't been born yet, their weddings.
Yes. I always say I want to be a funky grandma. I want to be able to run on the park with my grandkids, you know. And once we
Yeah.
start practicing these things, then it's possible. It's possible. It's doable. I always say that the chronic diseases, they are not age-related diseases. It's diet and lifestyle related diseases. So once we put into practice all these things, then we'll be able to skip all these chronic diseases and enjoy life to the fullest. So that's I believe my life's purpose is to empower all I come into contact with these tools, so that they can take total control of their health and well-being.
Okay, so one of the questions, something that made me, one of the questions I want to ask you is, when you blend culinary creativity with science-backed nutrition, how do you balance creating delicious meals whilst ensuring? I'm sure you broached on it earlier, but seriously, how do you how do you help us also, because some of us are not scientists, but we've grown up knowing that spinach is good for the body, it's good for your blood. The foods that, especially in Ghana, the foods that we eat are kind of, we've known through the ages, grandmothers, that they're healthy in certain ways. But with this new life that we're leading and these shortcuts, and how do you use the science-backed nutrition to balance the meals that we're actually making now? Do we still have to cook from scratch? How do we know, the ones who are not into science, how they maintain strong health benefits? I don't. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
So that you cook and still it retains its nutritional
Yeah,
properties, is that what you mean?
yeah.
That's why you've got me. Honestly, flavor is my gift, and because of my background in nutrition, I
Mm,
understand the ingredients. So I use spices, herbs, and whole foods.
mm,
And I combine them. Example is like I've created this morning elixir tea, um, and my glowing skin smoothie, which you can get on my YouTube channel. For clients who can't make it or don't want to make these things from scratch, I bottle and sell them. But how I do this is because I have this background, I know what to. So when it comes to like the morning elixir tea,
mm,
it's it boosts your immune system. If you're starting on it, it detoxifies you. It will detox you. But once it detoxes you, you drink it and you get a boost of energy. Why? Because I understand the different ingredients that I've blended together to make this work. Something like my sea moss gel So they are all on my YouTube channel on Annie Betty's. So when you go to Annie Betty's on my YouTube channel, you can get that. And with sea moss gel, I'm not sure if you've tried it before. If you've tried sea moss gel anywhere before.
Um, CMOS tea, I have, but it's CMOS is not, is foreign to the to West Africa.
It
I
is.
I I have a friend who is from the Caribbean, and she introduced me to the CMOS tea,
Okay.
because I had a health situation. So she came, and so I drink that intermittently,
Okay.
but I want things from my side of the world,
Okay.
which
Okay.
that
So let's
I
go
would,
back to, let's say, abum. Yeah.
yeah.
Should I take that as an example?
Yes,
So
say
if
abom. That's one of my favorite. And people, abom is a kind of a vegetable sauce thing that we
yes,
eat with yam, plantain, and blah blah blah. So hit
exactly.
me with it.
So let's take example album. Let's say garden eggs album. So garden eggs, those of you who don't know garden eggs, it's similar to aubergine but smaller.
Aubergine, eggplant
And
is
what we
yellow.
do, pardon,
Is yellow. Is
it's
eggplant
yes,
small? Mm.
yeah. So with album like this, usually when people have it, they'll have a lot of the yam, little of the sauce, the protein, just a tiny bit. So what I do is I teach how to balance this right, because the conception has been, most of my clients contact me and say, gosh, I've been told I need to change my diet. Does that mean I can't eat our food? Which means if they are African, like the Ghanaian food or Nigerian food, can't I eat my swallow? But that's not it. Our food is rich, it's nutrient packed. The only thing is we don't balance it well. So if you are taking a bone, for instance, the yam or the plantain should be 20 to 25%. So let's take the bowl, 20 to 25% is the yam or the plantain. The protein should be 30%. So this will be your eggs or your
Your fish.
fish that goes with it. That should be
Mhm.
30%. And half of the bowl should be the abomis of the sauce. So you take a tiny bit of the yam or the plantain and take a lot of the sauce. What I advise is first eat some of the sauce, because there's a way in which when we eat, the food is digested well. So when you have your salads and your vegetables, let's say you're having rice and stew with salad.
Mhm.
You have your salads and your vegetables first, followed by your protein, then your carbohydrate. Why? Is because when we have the salads and vegetables first, it digests slowly, so it slows down the rate of digestion. But if you have the rice or the yam or the plantain first, quickly, because it's carbohydrate, it's quickly broken down into glucose and you get the spikes. Once you get the spikes, so when I say the spikes, it means glucose is released and you get this burst, sudden burst of energy. Then after at some time, you get the dump. You feel sleepy. So usually some people call it niggeritis. You finish eating and you feel sleepy. That's not the norm. Food is a fuel. And imagine fueling your car and after 10 minutes it can't move. Definitely you will say there's something wrong with the fuel you put in. You go to the fuel station if everything on the car is working right. It's the same with us. Food should give us energy. So if you finish eating and after 10 minutes you feel sleepy, it means something is not right. So when you eat this way, after eating, you don't feel sleepy, because digestion takes place in a steady manner and you get a steady release of glucose, so that insulin, the amount of glucose shot into the body, the pancreas will shoot a corresponding amount of insulin and you have a steady release of energy throughout. So that's why we advise this. So when you're having a boom, you have a bit of the sauce first before you start having your yam or plantain with it.
I
That's
get
the
it
small
now.
things. Yeah.
So
So
so we eat the sauce, the
yes,
protein, the
yes,
carbohydrates, and
yes,
also we don't drink water
yes.
whilst we, or just take a tiny little sip to help
Yes, if you
the
have
food
to.
go down.
If you don't have to. So when you come, I do sessions where we learn how to eat. We actually sit down, I cook. So I do cooking lessons as well. And when we sit down, I teach this. And even on What FM, where you first heard about me,
Yeah.
Mr. Van Dyke, I remember the first time I said, he said, "Hey, me, I can't do it." After that session, we went to the restaurant and I said, "Just give it a try." He had his meal. We had the salad first. He didn't have a sip of any fluid. It's like, oh, I didn't know I could do it. Just the first day. So once you tell yourself and you make a conscious effort, it's doable. It's doable.
So what
But
if you
like
don't
I,
eat salad? What if you don't eat salad?
sorry,
What if you don't eat salad?
and you don't eat vegetables too?
Well, you eat rice and stew and chicken. You do not eat salad.
That is wrong. We need to eat our salads. We need the fiber. Those who eat rice and stew without chicken, most of the time they are constipated. Most of the time. If they are not constipated, they are overweight because there again, they are always getting the spikes. And remember, once you eat the carbohydrate, glucose, the carbohydrate will be broken down into glucose. The body needs just a little bit. It's like plants need water. But
Mm,
if you give it too much water, it will die. It's the
mm.
same with our body. If we eat too much carbohydrate, we are killing it. So the diabetes, the high blood pressure, the um, cholesterol, this is the body screaming that you are killing me. And with time, if you don't hear, then the person is gone. So we need to start changing this. We need to. And the amazing thing is once you start, I would say give it a week. That's what I tell people. Give it a week. If it doesn't work, stop. And always, always by the third day, people are like, wow, this thing is amazing. I had a client when she came to me, she had diabetes. And so I give you a questionnaire so that I get your health history. Now, let me digress a bit and touch on naturopathy. So, naturopathy, we
Hmm.
go to the root causes of sicknesses and diseases. Traditionally, when you go to conventional medicine and you go to your GP or your doctor, let's say you've gone with a headache, they'll just give you painkillers. When you come to naturopathy and you say you've got a headache, it could be an array of reasons. It could be due to dehydration, you're not taking adequate fluid intake. It could be that you're not balancing your food well. It could be lack of a good night's sleep. It could be stress. So we go down to the root causes of sicknesses and diseases so that once you solve the root cause, the person is able to heal or reverse whatever they were battling with. So this client came and she had diabetes. And she said, "Oh, don't worry about the constipation. I've had it since I was little. My family, we all have constipation, so don't worry." I'm like, "No, it's not normal." So I told her what to do. And by changing how she eats, hydrating properly, by the third day, constipation gone, gone together with her family. So what I do is when I coach a client, I made them add their whole family so that the whole family benefits from it. The whole family, constipation gone. So if you don't like salad, please start loving it. Everybody loves a vegetable or a salad. I have a colleague at work who said, "Me, I don't like salad." Now she loves it. I've been working with her for how many months now? I think 6 months. She loves her salad. She said, I remember when we started, she said, "I love cabbage." I said, "Then start with cabbage." Then gradually we started adding things. Now she loves her salad. When I cater, she eats the salad. So it's gradual. Sometimes it's because of the way the ingredients have been blended together, it doesn't make it nice. I catered for an event, and when we finished, the client came to me and said, "How do you get so much flavor in salad? I really want to know how." I do cooking lessons with some youths in my area, and one child said to me, "If my mom makes salad this way, I will eat it." So most of the time, it's because you haven't mixed the right ingredients. Come to Annie Betty's, I'll help you. I will enable you love your salad. Because once you mix them right, once you get the flavors right, you will love it. You will love salad.
Salad. I eat salad. I'm just asking for the people who don't
For the
eat
people,
salad.
yeah, yeah.
So
I know a
yeah.
lot of people have that problem. And they come and I give them recipes, and like on my YouTube channel, you can get vinaigrette recipe. You add it to your salad. Just rocket, cucumber, combine some green mango. Try that and come back to me with some coriander, some fresh herbs, any herb you love. Quick salad recipe.
Annie Betty is your company and it is your YouTube channel. What
Yes.
was the biggest challenge you faced when launching Annie Betty? I have a friend who is also a very good cook, but she's not brave enough to start cooking for people, or
Mm.
even to show her methods of cooking and all of that. And I'm wondering how how did you start? How did you launch it? And how did you overcome it?
Honestly, I started by people were just trying and they'll say, "Ooh, it tastes really nice." That's how I started. And word of mouth. That's that has been how I start. Like there was a time in my life where I had to make pies and send to barber shops and stuff like that. And they'll try it and they're like, "This melts in the mouth." So just, I would say she should just start giving it to people. Just start like how I started going to barbering shops, and they bought into it, and people would come order for parties, for funerals. That's how I started. That's how I started. And markets, I used to like my sauces, and I do sauces as well. So I do shito. Those of you who don't know shito, I'm not swearing. I'm not swearing. When I first came here and I said shito, they're like, "What girl did you just swear?" No, Shito means chili. One of the Ghanaian languages in Ghana, Shito means chili. So I've got the chili sauce that's called Shito. Those of you who know Shito is beautiful. So I do that. I do jollof sauce where people buy the sauce and all you do is you add water and salt and cook your jollof in it. And
Wow.
I take it to the market. So go to markets like farmers markets and stuff. That's another good way. The tables are not that expensive. It's not expensive. So once you start that and people start knowing about what you do, and if they love your food, trust me, word of mouth is what has gotten me where I am. It's
Word of
been
mouth.
word of mouth. Yeah. Word of mouth.
You're also into mental health and community, and community. So, did you actually train
Yes.
in
Yes.
mental health, or are you actually training, or what are you doing with the mental health part of your CV?
So I work as a health ambassador for SADC. And
Okay.
I work with public health as well. So I've trained, I'm a mental health facilitator. I've trained as a mental health advocate, and I'm a health coach as well for SADC. So yeah, I've done the training um, to support people
So
because I've been through a lot and I know how these things um,
you want to
can be
talk about
challenging.
your being through a lot. When you say I've been through a lot, what does that mean? Do you want to
Ah,
just
at an early age, I lost my husband. I remarried. I went through abuse. Um, Oh, you make me emotional.
That is
um
not the intention. I'm sorry.
and
It's just, you know how when women come on these show, especially my show, this show is for women by women to women, on and on, but underlying women. Now, men can watch it if they want. It's fine because they can learn something from it. But one of the things is the way that the world is going. Women need to know that things that happen to them, it's not
mm,
just them,
yeah.
and they can climb out of it. They
Mm,
can work their way out of it. They can make decisions not to get into it, that
mm.
sort of thing. So it's always nice when a woman says, "Oh, I've been through a lot." You always wonder, what exactly have
I
you
should
been
be too.
through? Is it going to resonate with me?
Mm,
Is it something that do you get the drift?
mhm. Yeah, so like I said earlier, I lost my husband at an early age. And although I wasn't suicidal, now going through the mental first aid, it is a form of suicide because I wasn't doing things that will make me healthy. I stopped living. And I realized that once I got my mojo back, because we've all got it, once I decided living is a decision, and most of the time we go through things and we keep on asking ourselves, why me, why me, why me? If not you, who? That's the honest truth. Who should it happen to? It shouldn't happen to anyone. So if it's happened to you, it's sad that it happens. Don't get me wrong. I was broken. I was really broken, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone. But if it happens, hey, if you have to cry, cry. But don't wallow in that and let that eat you up. Talk to people. And once you begin to talk to people, it's interesting. Around the time that I lost my husband, I remember there was this time I went to the market and someone saw me and said, "You are such a lucky girl." I've always looked very young. And I was still wearing my ring. I wouldn't take my ring off. It took a lot for me to take it off because I couldn't accept it that he was gone. And she saw me and she said, "You are so lucky." I'm like, girl, you have no idea what I'm going through at this very moment for you to call me lucky. But what she was seeing, she felt I was lucky. That I remember going home and thinking, what is that girl going through? Or what did she see that made her call me lucky? So, whatever you are going through, that could be someone's Christmas, even though it's your worst date. And once you make a decision to live, it's amazing how things transform. Like I said, once I made the decision to leave, 2008, even though it was my worst year, it was my best year. Then I gave love a chance and married one of the worst people I've ever met. Um, and he, when I left him, so I have a son with him. I have a 12-year-old amazing boy. I wouldn't change him for anything. So I keep telling myself that it wasn't all bad because I have the most anyone I know every mother is biased, but anyone who meets my son is like, well done. You've trained him well. When he was little and he goes to people's homes, they're like, whenever you need a babysitter, bring him because he inspires my children. This boy reads. He's in one of the best schools here in the UK. He's in a boarding school. He's just amazing. So I wouldn't exchange him for anything. So I know it wasn't a bad decision to marry him, just that it wasn't the best relationship. And when I left him, he wrote to the home office to send me home, and I had to fight to live here. I have to fight for myself and my son to live here. And now, looking at my life, people see me. Today, one of my mates from uni called me and said, "Hey, now you're a millionaire." I'm like, "Amen, I receive it." Now, people see me and they're like, "Esther, you are doing so well. Wow, look at you." But I tell my story. There was a point in my life where in the morning I'll bake pies to the barber shop. In the evening, I'll fry kelewele. I did this for a whole year. This is me. This same girl is now a health ambassador for SADC. I work with public health. I give talks. I do cooking lessons, living my dream. I've got my son in one of the best schools doing this. So when they say when life throws lemons at you, make lemonade. I say don't make lemonade. Make the best juice you can ever make, because we can always turn our life around. And there was a point in my life, don't get me wrong, when I left my son's dad, there was a point where I became suicidal because
Again.
I before I lost my right to work, before my ex-husband wrote to the home office to send me home, I was working as a chef with waitress. And as a chef, you have to do night shift. And there was this day when I do night shift, I close at 10. And I I was living in Dulwich at that time, and I couldn't find what babysitter will take your child to 10. No one would do that. And it's not even till 10, it's till 11. Because by the time I get to pick him up, it's around 11. So
Yeah.
there was this friend who was living in Norbury. So I have the days I'm doing the night shift, he wouldn't go to school. I'll take him to the friend, and after work, I'll go and pick him up. And I have to run to catch the train. I wasn't driving at that time. I have to run to catch the train. And if you miss the train, it's after 11. You have to wait for half an hour. So this day, work was stressful, and I had picked my son up, and we missed the train. And I was sitting at the train station thinking to myself, what's the point of all this? If we just jump on the track, that would be it. It will end it all. Then in an instant, something said, what about your son? What about his future? It means you will be terminating his future. So that's when I snapped out of it. And that evening, when I got home, I made a list of the things I want. And I asked myself, what can I do to change our circumstances? So the next day, this is literally the next day, I went straight to my manager and I said, I can't do the night shift anymore. I can't. I'm a single mom and I can't do it. Said, why didn't you tell me? That was all I had to do. The power of ask, the power of asking. That was all I had to do. And my shift was changed. I stopped doing the 2 late shifts. And my life was turned around. I'm like, so all this that I was sitting down wallowing that, oh my God, what am I going to do? Till the point that I became suicidal. All I had to do was to ask my manager, and my shift was changed. And look at me now. Now looking back, I'm so grateful I didn't do that. I am so grateful. I look at my son's life and he makes me proud. I am proud of myself, where I have come to. So, what I would say to anyone listening or watching who feels like they've had it all, trust me, there's light. Truly, there's light at the end of the tunnel. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Take it from me. I've lived it. I've lived it. Now I talk and people are like, girl, you've got it all. What if I had done that? Where would I have been now? I wouldn't live to tell my story today. So please, please, most of the time we keep telling ourselves we are the most unfortunate people, but you haven't heard someone's story. You haven't. When you hear some of the stories, you thank your God that at least you haven't been through that. And always find someone to talk to. That's all you have to do. Talk to people. Find someone to talk to. These days in the UK, there are helplines. There are helplines. You just call the helpline and talk to someone. And once you talk to someone, or even talk to yourself, you can turn things around.
So, how has your own view of food and family and health evolved over the years through your personal journey right now? you're so busy doing all sorts of things. In fact, you're actually writing a book, aren't you?
I'm writing a book with my colleague. We are writing a recipe book. I'm also writing a recipe book with Public Health England. We are trying to write a culturally appropriate recipe book for our people.
Yeah, well, you see, that's what I like. I mean, I've expressed it to you already. I am very much interested in us, our African, West African food, how we are going to put it through wherever we are, the choice that we make to feed. You see, because I know for a fact, and I said it to you the first time we actually spoke, that our food is health. Our food is health, but it's sometimes too rich, and then it backfires on us. So really and truly, we need to tailor make it, which is what you're doing at the
Yeah,
moment, and I'm
yeah,
very interested in that, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners are as well. That how do we marry our foods and are careful not to over egg it and overdo it, and yet because we need it for our energy, our strength, our health, and our living, basically.
yeah. Um, so is it about how to, let me get the question right. Is it about how to balance our food right, or how to eat our food and eat it right? Is that it?
Both. Take one.
So like we've done with our bone, let's
Mhm,
take jollof for example.
mhm,
So if you're having jollof, the jollof is 20 to 25% of your plate.
mhm.
Your protein is 30%. Your salads and your vegetables. So please start loving your salads. I say everybody has a vegetable or salad they love. Everybody. So far, I've realized everybody has something. Maybe it's cucumber you love. Go for the cucumber. Gradually, you start adding stuff. If it's just cucumber you love at the moment, find a herb and add it to it and have that. If it's carrots you love, go for the carrots. So whatever vegetable or salad you love, go for that. Then gradually, as you learn how to add the different ingredients, you begin to explore. Because like I said earlier, I've realized that those who say they don't love salad, once they try my, I haven't so far, touch wood, I haven't had anyone who's tried my salad and say they don't love it. When I do cater for, so last week I catered for an event. Someone stole the salad. Someone stole the salad. I kid you not. They tried it because they tried it. It was nice, and they took it away. That's how good it is. So explore with the ingredients. If not, come to my cooking lessons. Follow Annie Betty's. I share this is free on my channel. Try the vinaigrette dressing. Try, let's say, like I gave an example of my colleague who all she liked was cabbage. She started with the cabbage. I said, add a bit of onions. You can just stir fry the onions quickly, add it to it. She started with that. Gradually, now she loves salad. So start from right from where you are. There is a vegetable you love. In Ghana, we have dandelion, we have cucumber, we have the herbs. Try them. Incontomere is amazing. If you don't love salad and you like your incontomere, you like your soups, it's amazing. Our incontomere is rich. So those of you who don't know what incontomere is the
Finish.
leaf of cocoyam, and we use it in stews and sauces. So if you're doing incontomere stew, that is rich. Just balance it right. Remember, half of your plate is the sauce, and when I say this, people say, then it's expensive. Well, how much? What cost will you put on your health? Because if you do this, the amazing thing about this lifestyle is if you do it, you don't have to buy any medication. You don't have to go to the hospital because you don't fall sick. You don't. And I know that being sick costs a lot. Even here with the NHS, you say you don't pay, but you pay, it's at a price. You may lose your job at a point. If you call in sick too much, you may lose your job. There are certain sicknesses you have to be on the waiting list. Why not take control of your health and well-being so you don't get to that point? And I know, yes, on when you start practicing, it's a bit on the higher side because you have to make certain changes. But look at the whole picture, that once you do this, you don't fall sick. It works out cheaper in the long run. So if you're having soup and fufu, with the swallowing food, remember digestion begins in your mouth. If you can chew, fantastic. I remember I said it and someone said, you want me to chew my fufu? It's how do you say it? It's a give and take. If you don't want to chew it and you're swallowing, it has to be really tiny and eat it early, not late, once in a while because of the texture. Something like kenke. Kenke is a fermented food that is good and we chew it. So that is fantastic. What we have to do is to balance it right. So, when we are having cake, we have a bit of onions and tomato. Usually we put it there like decoration. Now, remember that your salad should be half of the plate. So the onions and the tomato should be about half of the plate. What I do now is I add a bit of peppers. You can add carrots to it so that you have more and have your half of the plate being your salads or your vegetables, so it's well balanced. When you do it this way, you can eat all the foods you love and still maintain or shed unwanted weight.
So if you could eat only one meal from your recipe book for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Whew. It will be salad and maybe grilled chicken, I think. It will be my rocket and green mango salad with grilled chicken because it's packed with so much goodness. Yeah, I think that will be it. Or or it will be my glowing skin smoothie with the sea moss gel, because sea moss gel, so our body needs about 102 minerals. Sea moss gel contains about 92 of this. So it's just amazing. And I know sea moss gel is not known in now. Ghanaians use it because I have clients in Ghana who know where to get it. They sell it there. And the thing is, when you taste the sea moss gel, usually it's not nice. It tastes fishy because it comes from the sea. But I add lemons, ginger, pineapple. So I have three flavors. I have pineapple, I have mango, strawberry. I'm still developing more flavors. But I do it in such a way that when you try it, it tastes like jelly. So who wouldn't eat it? You get me? So I try to do. I've got a sweet tooth. You remember you were telling me you love your donuts. I love
I do.
cakes. I learned how to cook through baking. Like I was telling you that my mom bakes, my grandmother baked. Those people who know us know my grandmother was called Mama. Christmas Mama is baking cakes for the whole community. I grew up in Tema 27. People know us. They call, hey, Mama Nana no, which means Mama's granddaughter. So I learned how to cook by baking. So I bake. I bake and I love that. But another thing about blue zoning your home is, the Bible says flee temptation. I know if I bake, the temptation to eat a lot is there. So when I bake, I give a lot out so that I eat a little bit. Because trust me, when I sit down, I can eat. Like I was saying, when I go out, usually when people go out, that's when they say, oh, I'm watching my weight. Then they'll go for salad and maybe chicken. When I know I'm going out, like come Sunday, I'm going out with some friends. So this week, what I'm doing is I'm eating my salads. I have today I had salad with grilled chicken. Tomorrow I'll have it with salmon, but it's just salad, no carbohydrate. So that when I go out, I can enjoy my desserts. I can enjoy anything I want to enjoy. I'm not going to impress people by saying that I'm now watching my weight. When I go out with my friends, they're like, she will come and eat all this and go home and we'll be putting it on. Because most people come out and they want to impress people and say that I'm watching my weight and wouldn't eat much. Then they'll do takeaway, go home and binge on it. Who are you deceiving? Your body will let us see what you're doing in the dark. So in the dark, that is when I advise that. Look, at home, that is when it's easy to check your weight. Look, friends who are trying to cut alcohol, you go to the restaurant and the bartender, he's trying to sell you the alcohol. He'll do everything to sell it to you. It's difficult when you go out. At home, you're able to, especially if you come and I blue zone with you, book your consultation. It makes it easy. It makes it easy to live this lifestyle. So I help you make the healthier choice, the easier choice, to make this journey easy. Because remember, I want us to live, I want us to thrive, not to just exist, but to live and thrive and live healthily.
You mentioned your son, and so your son inspired the kids' Master Chef birthday experience.
Yes.
What is the cutest or most hilarious thing that a child has ever said or done during one of these Master Chef experience
So
sessions?
it was the salad thing I said. He said, if my mom makes salad this way, I will eat it. And
So,
what inspired the master chef? So I started cooking with my son when he was 2. So on my YouTube channel, I cook some of the recipes with him. Now he's growing and he's camera shy, which I don't get because I've been cooking with you when you were little. You were when you watch the videos, it's it's funny. There was this day we were watching one. I said, hey, I used to do that. Like on the YouTube, he'll when we are cooking, he'll be singing. So I started cooking with him when he was 2. So for his 6th birthday, he suggested he wanted to cook with his friends, and that inspired the kids' Master Chef party. And it's been amazing the feedback we get, and families who didn't cook together after that they start cooking together, and it's just amazing because I believe as parents, one of the best gifts we can give our kids is to teach them how to cook, because I get most of my clients and they can't cook. They can't cook. And
when you
if
say they can't cook, are you meaning that they don't cook from scratch? Because people
yes,
buy, I mean, I have friends who buy, well, friends when I was much younger, who would go and buy this sauces already done, make some pasta, pour it in, and eat it. And then you've invited me to dinner, and because I'm a Fudian and a Ghanaian, I go to these dinners and I can't eat.
yeah,
I'm feeling so frustrated and
yes.
sad, and it means I have to go home and find food. I mean,
Find
I've
something
gone,
to eat.
yeah.
Exactly. So why I say they can't cook is when I do the coaching with clients, we do meal plans because the truth is, when it comes to health and well-being, nutrition
Mm,
is about 80%. We need our exercise, we need all the other bits. Like through my wellness course, there are about um 12 categories: our hydration, our sleep, our diet, removing toxins, all that plays a
mm,
part. But nutrition is about 80% of this. And when you eat like when you buy the already made sauces, the
mm,
ingredients they use are not wholesome. So you are not getting the right benefits from it. So it's best that you cook from scratch. Yes, once in a while when you eat outside is cool. Like I said, Sunday I'm going out to eat with friends. Not that I don't eat out, I do. But that is not my routine. The body works well on routine. So it's the things we do consistently that makes makes our health. So it's advisable that when you're once you're going on this journey, unless you can find a chef like myself, there are a lot of us out there doing this, then they cook with wholesome ingredients which you will benefit from. That's when food becomes your medicine, because you are using the food to heal yourself. Yeah. So that's why I mean when I say they can't cook. A lot of people can't cook from the scratch, which is such a shame. So I feel as parents, one of the best gifts we can give our kids is to teach them how to cook.
Let me ask you some quick fire questions. So sweet and savory. Sweet
Okay.
or savory?
Ah, hmm. I have a sweet tooth. Usually I go for sweet.
Spicy or mild?
Mild.
Breakfast or dinner?
I'm not a breakfast person. I'm not.
No?
When I eat breakfast, it gives me I get slow, so I don't have breakfast. So dinner. Early
Cooking
dinner.
solo. Cooking solo or hosting a group session?
Hosting a group session.
You
I
like
love cooking.
hosting.
Yeah.
You like cooking with people around.
Yes. I actually love cooking with people. Yeah. Bonding around food.
When you say cooking with people, are they also joining in with the cooking, or they're just there watching you cook,
Even if they are just there and we are chatting, I'm good.
and you're
Yeah.
cooking?
Yeah.
Farmers market or supermarket?
Farmers market any day, every time. Camberwell, Honeymoon Museum, you find me there. Farmers market. That is where you get the best goods. So I interact with a lot of the farmers. I've got sage. One of the farmers gifted me sage. And as women, sage, I'm not sure if you know, sage is called the savior. It's best for balancing our hormones. So farmers market any day.
You know, Esther, you have inspired me. You
Oh,
have inspired my listeners.
amazing.
You are what I can't even find the right word to this to tell you how resilient, strong, powerful, how you have you are an inspiration. Basically, you are amazing.
Thank
And
you.
I'm telling you this from my heart. I interview a lot of people. They're all good, but there is something about you, because you have shared so much without making yourself naked. You have uh, you there's so much that you have said today, which I think if people listen to this show in 5 years time, it will still be relevant to
Oh,
women, to young people, both men and women coming up. It will be relevant to old people like me. Um, and I applaud you for that. I think that
thank you.
with experience, you have learned a lot, and your spirit is so alert and alive that you have um, imparted in your life, it's evident. All everything that you're doing now is so amazing, and I've really enjoyed having this chat with you.
Thank
And I
you.
want to
Thank you so
tell you that
much.
I am very honored that you came on my show. You have
Oh,
made Kiki's chat very happy.
thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for all the blessings, all the encouragement. It means a lot to me. Thank you. Thank
No,
you.
trust me. I mean, you see, for a woman to get to where you are, and what you are still doing, it's not like you've even finished, but you are still on the trajectory to get higher. There's a lot of suffering and a lot of determination and a lot of work and a lot of prayers. You have a
Mm,
child. It's amazing. So that alone is enough to. We've even exceeded the hour. and it's going to cause me problems. But I think that everything that you said is important. And so
Thank you.
I hope that people learn, or somebody takes even just one sentence from it. I took several things from learning. I am Someone actually said Ghana Brofrot is the best. And it's true. I mean, I was eating Ghana Brofrot, and then I have uh, moved into Sainsbury's donut.
Ghana Buffet is better. It's better, especially once you use the like I was giving the healthier
Yeah,
versions. You can use like spelt flour instead of the white castor sugar. You use coconut sugar or honey, stuff like that. You can even make it like these days. You can use like how we make the sourdough. I've forgotten the name of that. You know how we make sourdough bread? The yeast we use for sourdough bread. Why have I forgotten? I'll finish this and I'll remember the name.
it's
You can
okay.
use all that. Pardon?
Yeah, I said it's okay. With the yeast that we use, the one that you you have to wait for it to rise, and
Exactly.
then yeah, that one.
When you
Yeah.
use that, all that in both foods, amazing. Yeah.
Esther, thank you so much for sharing your incredible journey, your
Thank
passion,
you.
and all the wisdom you have gathered along the way. It is truly inspiring to see how food and the love of food can transform
Mm.
someone. If you didn't know, I'm telling you that your passion is food.
Oh
And
yes, I know. Everybody knows. Me, I'm a foodie. I tell everyone when I say, they say, look at her tiny waist, and she's telling us she's a foodie. But I am a foodie. I love food.
you are
Look, I work like this. When food comes, I am the first person to go and arrange, make sure it's looking nice and stuff like that. When I cater, I'll take time. So during Christmas dinners, they are like, oh gosh, she's coming to waste her time. Because when the food is ready, I'm going to arrange it nicely, take my pictures. I love I love food. I love
excellent.
Yeah, I am a
So
foodie.
I'm wishing you continued success
Thank you.
and impact as you help the world live healthier,
Amen.
happier, and
Yes.
longer. Because
Yes.
that's the whole thing about the naturopathic way.
Yes. Yes.
So thank
Yes.
you so much
Thank you too.
for
Thank you for having me.
coming on my show. You can
Thank
stay
you.
on while
Okay.
I say bye bye to. I want to thank all the listeners who've come on the show. This has been quite an inspiring show. And food is something that we eat every day, but it is how we eat it, what we eat,
Mm-hmm.
and all of that. We want to find enjoyment in everything that we put in our mouth, and we want our children, because that's one of the things that I like is cooking and my children enjoying it.
Can I
And
add one tiny bit? So it is
yeah,
said that food can be food, it can be medicine, or it can be poison. So I'll
yeah.
leave you with this.
Well, people, don't make it poison. Make
Yeah.
food fun, and
Yes.
make food healthy, and make food give you life.
Yes.
But once in a while, if you're a donut person, have a donut.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so
Absolutely.
much. Stay on the
Thank
line and
Okay.
we will
Thank
go
you.
in a minute.